Do you know why people are left-handed? Go ahead. No, we're going to wait a second here. Why are people left-handed, Will? All right, never mind.
I mean, genetics.
No.
I mean,
Stop it.
I was left-handed.
No, you can't. Was, B?
Right. I was, yeah.
They slapped it out of you?
They sure did.
That's rude.
Yeah. I was holding a pencil with my left hand, and they're like, no.
Oh, they did that to you?
Yeah,
that's
they
like
forced me, man.
That's like the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
They discouraged
like witchcraft or something.
Yeah. That's the old-fashioned thought on that.
Yeah.
I listened to an incredible podcast about this, and then I happened upon this article, so I've been kind of interested in it.
Okay.
Across human populations, 10% of people are left-handed.
Yes.
A clean, steady 10%. Wait, what? Why? How? But how?
And it hasn't changed?
Tell me why. No, not for a very long time. And it's bizarre amongst the animal kingdom, compared to the animal kingdom.
Is it increasing or decreasing?
Stays the same. Stays the same.
Oh.
Well, my understanding with other creatures is that they have left and right-handedness, but at a completely random rate. 50-50. So various creatures, they pick a hand, they go with it. Humans, always 90-10. Wait, what? Always 90-10. Why 90-10? So there's a lot of speculation. And a podcast I listened to, they presented a couple of different potential reasons as to why.
Okay.
But this particular article on livescience.com goes with one of them that I personally find to be interesting. So they think, first of all, that the right-handedness has something to do with language, because we talk a lot. And over the many years it took to develop speech and language, there was a left brain, right brain thing that took place. And so it created a physical emphasis or a proficiency on the right side of the body for right-handedness. Okay, fine, whatever. We don't have to dive too deeply. This is about left-handedness. If that's the case, why do you keep the 10% left? And this particular theory, which is interesting to me, is that you have left-handedness because of combat. Because of combat. And so I started looking into this, and it maps to sports as well. You have an overrepresentation of left-handers in plenty of major sports, which sports are some kind of modern civil version of combat. In baseball, you have a way overrepresentation of left-handers because of pitching. And in pitching, it's kind of like combat, because what you're trying to do is show a person something they don't usually see. And in fighting, if you have to fight a southpaw, it can be really disorienting if you haven't trained against a southpaw. So what they think is that, first of all, righties have dominated for as far back as 500,000 years, as far as they can tell, going back to Neanderthals, way back. But in combat, they think that a left-hander would have an advantage because they only represent 10% of the potential people you might encounter in a combat scenario. And therefore, your likelihood of being prepared for that is less. And that could be a surprise attack. So if imagine you had, Will, some sort of a battalion, Willie Doo's battalion.
Yes.
And back in the day, before you had all kinds of weapons and stuff, it was going to be some kind of hand-to-hand combat, swords, something like that.
Uh-huh.
All of a sudden, you put some lefties in there just to throw off the other squad.
And they start killing it?
And the lefties are just crushing. No one's ready for it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, those lefties, they get rewarded within the society because those lefties are heroes. So what do those lefties get to do? They get to stick around.
Right.
It's an interesting concept.
So
the idea, let me just one quote here.
Okay.
One quote. The idea is that in hand-to-hand combat or in combat with weapons, there is an evolutionary advantage to being a minority left-hander. If you're left-handed, you have a surprise advantage because most people are used to fighting against right-handers. That lefty advantage has been shown in one-on-one sports like fencing. Scientists reported in 2010. So just one more thing, okay? If there is a benefit to being right-handed, which would lead to the 90% right-handed frequency, then why do you keep the 10%? Why doesn't genetics, selection, and so forth, why doesn't it weed it out? There must be some advantage to keeping a minority left around. So that's the way the concept breaks down. It's kind of interesting.
I see. But when it comes to like really brutal war, left-handers get an advantage. Wouldn't you breed more left-handers?
But you can't. It found some natural level on you see
But
what
you
I'm
can
saying?
force people to like, go southpaw.
You can't. They're able to track this discrepancy in the womb, Will. They'll see a fetus go for the left thumb to suck on the left thumb. So
Right.
in a way, you could argue, so if you take Willie Doo, for example, when there was a young Willie Doo writing with his left hand, if we were in combat times, or if I thought you were going to be a star pitcher, the last thing I would do is smack your left hand.
Right.
I'd be saying,
This guy's a mighty warrior.
I'd say keep writing with that left hand.
Yeah.
Get good with that left hand, because I need a left hand. So that's just the difference. And then at some point in time, people stopped, I guess. People tried to correct it, as you stated in your case. So how did that go for you, by the way? Now that we're in a...
You know what? I don't really remember.
At what point in your life did they smack you for using your left?
Well, I don't know if they smacked me, but they really did try to convert me,
At what stage?
in which they succeeded. Probably when I started writing. Like when I
Right.
naturally tended towards
What is that,
left
like
hand.
5 years old or something? 4 years old? 4 or 5?
Yeah,
Yeah,
around there.
5 years old. Now, what about throwing a ball?
With my right,
Oh, so you went fully right at that point.
I guess so.
Wow.
I don't know, my mind
You're
just switched or
shell-shocked, man.
something.
You got PTSD right
But
now.
there are times, I swing left-handed.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
like golf and hockey.
Yeah, but see, that's a whole different thing once you go
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
The throwing is more
Yeah.
mechanically difficult. There are a select group of people who are ambidextrous, who are coordinated with both hands as well. But anyway, I thought it was interesting. If there's any lefties in the audience, let me know your personal experiences
Very cool.
in sports and otherwise, and get involved. Go throw a ball, do some boxing or whatever. You have an advantage.
Yeah.
Just straight out the gate, you got some kind of advantage. You don't. This is a lesson for life. It's all about perspective. Sometimes things that are seen by others as a deficiency can be a proficiency.
Yeah.
If utilized, if developed, if embraced. You never know what you got when you got a left hand. Well, you have a left hand.
Yeah, they should embrace that. Back in the day, they could be tribal war gods.
Yeah.
'Cause they were
By
good
the
at
way, I
combat.
should also note, there's people that dispute this finding.
Oh, okay.
They still don't really know. So, anyhow, there you have it.
Interesting.
Willie Doo, ladies and gentlemen, he used to be a left-hander. Today he's not. But who knows? Given enough time and practice, he may go back.
Maybe, yeah.